All right, our last game on our slate here, we have the Fiesta Bowl between number 25 Liberty and number 8 Oregon. Oregon is a 17-point favorite in this game, and the over-under carries an over-under of 67. By the way, Liberty is 23, not 25. I'm trying to short them there. Number 23 Liberty, if that makes any sort of difference there. This game kicks off Monday. Now, we're skipping forward in time. This is going to be the 29th and 30th bowl games, but we're going to talk about this one to rope in all the New Year's Six games into one. Kicks off Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPN from State Farm Stadium. Oregon, they are 1 p.m. Eastern. Really? From the West Coast. Interesting. That's an early kickoff over there. Oregon is missing some guys, but Bo Nix is not one of them. However, they are missing All-American center Jackson Powers-Johnson. Running back Bucky Irving opted out. Troy Franklin is going to the NFL, and he got hurt in the Pac-12 championship game, so I don't know that he goes in this, but I haven't seen any formal announcement, I don't think, that he's not playing this game. Maybe I missed it. Goodness, is it difficult to keep up with these opt-outs. I'm also watching tackle Ajani Cornelius and a couple of guys on the defensive line, Brandon Dorlus. I think Brandon Dorlus is going. But Ajani Cornelius, that's a big loss if he doesn't play. He was one of the best tackles in the game this year. Liberty on the other side, they're missing 2 starters on defense with injuries. They may come back, but they did miss the Conference USA Championship. Their best defensive lineman, Kendi Charles, hasn't played since week 11. He's in the transfer portal, but they've kind of been without him for a while. Otherwise, though, most of the rosters are intact, as they should be for games of this level. Our New Year's Six games should still mean something. Now, Liberty, they just allowed 35 points to New Mexico State in the Conference USA Championship game, although the rest of the year they were pretty solid defensively. If you look at it, most of those scores, like the UTEP game and games like that, UMass game, were very late garbage time scores. Otherwise, they were holding them to single digits for most of the game. But to be honest here, in what world are they going to slow down Oregon? The number one most efficient offense in the country. I think that's why we see this over-under of 67 points, because if Liberty's going to contend, they're going to have to score a bunch of points, because I don't think that they're going to be holding Oregon to anything short of 35 is being optimistic. I think 40 would be a job well done if they held them under that with Bo Nix. And look, I don't want to take anything away from Liberty. 13-0 is an accomplishment. How many programs in the country can boast that record ever in their entire history? Not many. Liberty is one of them. They absolutely deserve to be here. So don't hear what I'm not saying. I don't see a world in which this team makes it a game. Clip this. Yell at me in the comments. Shout at me on Twitter. Take it personally, whatever you want to do. Maybe I'll end up on Old Takes Exposed or whatever, but Oregon is far better. I don't even think it's close. And this isn't, now people like to bring up last year's Tulane USC. This isn't the same thing. Tulane was a 1.5 point dog with a much more talented roster than Liberty has against a very, very flawed team. This isn't the same kind of setup. Oregon is really good. They lost to one team this year. They have 2 losses, but they lost to one football team this year, and they're in the college football playoff, and both games were nail-biters down to, like, Oregon could very well be 13-0. They're, like, 2 possessions away from that. So talent-wise on the field, this is a massive mismatch in my eyes. The market agrees. It's been moving the number in Oregon's favor the whole time up from -14. And using my aggregated numbers, which would actually benefit Liberty, since Oregon has a couple of notable opt-outs, Oregon's still the favorite by 18 points. I'm curious, though. I trust your numbers better. What did they say?
At first, Brett, you said Oregon's maybe a couple possessions away from being 13-0. They're probably a couple plays away. I mean, a couple fourth down outcomes go the other way is maybe all it is. You talk about this game being at 1 Eastern. They need to, because they got the 2 CFP games that they got to get later on the same day here on New Year's Day. I love what you said. Don't hear what I'm not saying. One of my favorite, I don't know if it's a GIF, a meme, whatever it is. Somewhere I saw somebody post something like, Twitter is this only place where I can say, I like pancakes. And the first response, the first reply is going to be, oh, so you hate waffles? And it's like, no, that's a different sentence. Like, no, I said toxic. I like pancakes.
It is
I know,
toxic.
It's amazing, and that so sums it up perfectly, because people will not listen to what you say, but listen for what they want to hear, and that's not what you said. And I agree with you. Liberty deserves to be here. They are the highest ranked G5 team in my most deserving rankings, meaning they get that spot in the New Year's Six based on merit. They're not the best, quote unquote, from a power rating standpoint, G5 team. Not even close.
No, SMU would make this a much better game.
100%, but they deserve to be there because Boo Corrigan said, oh, Liberty just kept winning. Interesting, Boo. Interesting the committee feels that way about Liberty. Okay, at full strength, Brett, my model, as you smile, my model makes it Oregon -20.5. That's full strength, which, again, we're not, but we don't have the most notable of opt-outs compared to other bowl games here. So that's what my model would make this. There is so much to like about this Oregon team. The Ducks are my number 3 power-rated team with the nation's number 1 offense. We talked about it, most efficient. Yeah, they're number 1. They have been for the entire second half of the year. They started the year in the top 5. They were always going to be good. They were great. And a top 20 defense. In a 12-team CFP, Oregon gets in, and get this, if the Ducks faced Washington again, Oregon would be favored. I know it's comical at this point. I understand. I'm just telling you. We might see that situation in the future, and that's how it would go down. In the preseason, Oregon had a power rating of 14.7. That was number 13 in the country. Maybe that was too low. I mean, clearly it was too low because currently the Ducks power rating is 24.9. That 10-plus point upgrade ranks number 4 in the entire country. Per my historical ratings, this is the best team in Eugene since 2014. This is the team other CFP contenders did not want to face in the playoff. They can thank Washington for not having to. And by the way, you then better hope that the Huskies don't bite you as well, because that Washington team, we're going to talk about on a later episode, they're no joke either, but from a power rating standpoint, this is who teams didn't want to play. In the preseason, I talked about how Liberty was set to face the easiest schedule in all of FBS. But because my model had the Flames at just number 86 overall, there was still just a 1% chance for them to go 12-0. Well, now they're number 47. 13 wins later, Liberty took full advantage. Only 5 teams, including Oregon, improved their power rating more than the Flames over the course of the season, and only 5 teams exceeded preseason realistic win-loss expectations more than the Flames, who won 3.6 more games than projected. Per my historical power ratings, this is the best Liberty team ever for the Flames. Now, granted, they only made the jump to FBS in 2018, but still, since they made that jump, this is the best team that Liberty's fielded. The offense is legit good. Brett, they rank number 8 for me in the entire country.
Yeah.
Like that's opponent adjusted. That's everything. Are there really not more than 8 offenses that I say, head-to-head, or you wouldn't go head-to-head, but here we go. Play the same defense. There are more than 7 other offenses that I think would do better than the Liberty, but the model views them very highly. This defense, their FBS average, number 65. 17 years ago, Brett, Boise State beat Oklahoma in one of the most memorable Fiesta Bowl games ever. Just last year, you talked about this, the G5 rep Tulane took down a Pac-12 team in USC in their New Year's Six game. I agree. These aren't the same things. I actually want to say Boise State might have even been favored against Oklahoma. People forget that. It's going to take a Herculean effort for Liberty to pull off the same feat against the Ducks in this one. I don't see it either, Brett. Maybe, that's why they play the games. I don't see it.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't play a Power 5 opponent all year. They played 3 teams above 100 rank. I mean, that schedule was the easiest in the country, and I know people point to strength of record, and yes, they achieved your 1% chance to go undefeated. But guys, they didn't play a single Power 5. They were a blocked kick away from losing to Bowling Green at the beginning of the year. That shootout that they had with Sam Houston where they needed a last-second thing. And, good teams win. But, guys, they're going from a 21-16 result against Sam Houston State to Oregon.
It's going to be hard.
I don't get it. Look, if there were sharp numbers out there that were going to, or sharp bettors, I should say, out there that were going to back Liberty, we'd have seen it, and we wouldn't have seen it climb 3.5 points in the opposite direction. Call it haterade, call it whatever you want. I absolutely cannot play Liberty. I won't play Liberty, any of that. And, if they do make this game, or make this a game, if they win the game, feel free to victory lap. But if you do, show me your pre-live money line tickets first. I don't want to hear it if you don't have a receipt that you backed Liberty before this game started. I need to see the pre-live ticket. Then you can victory lap and then hand up absolutely. But I don't see a world in which this is really a truly watchable football game.